Oh man, I love it. Can't ask for a better introduction. And like Sam and I were talking, and like, okay, every time we travel somewhere, first night, we're going on a food tour. And it was just so cool to learn about the culture. Meet incredible people. The tour today, once again, amazing. I'm already texting my buddies back home like, hey boys, start planning the trip. We're going back to Ireland. And then welcomed with open arms here. I couldn't believe how many people showed up for the workout. So I literally could not ask for a better trip so far.
Now, you've been traveling a lot around the world for the last several months. It's a little bit of a different life for you now. You used to, tend to kind of go into your cave around this time of year, right, and begin to kind of work on the open and then go through and you'd be sort of Mat Fraser in the basement for, the next 9 months, and then you'd go crush the games and you have your off season. So, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in this change of lifestyle for you.
Yeah, it has been a very drastic change over the last, especially in the last year. Really fitting into the role of coaching, and cool opportunities like this of getting to show up here, like other than just doing workouts. Like we don't have any competitors competing. I'm not programming anything. We're just showing up just to hang out, meet people, have a good time. So that's a big change of pace. Traveling with just a carry-on suitcase instead of 2 check bags, where it's like 1 bag of gym equipment and supplements and nutrition, everything that goes with it, and then street clothing. But it's it's applying the same work ethic just to a different venue. Like doing just a different style of work. There's all the same parallels, same work ethic, trying to be the best that we can be, and just show up. And it was stuff like this, doing community workouts, that I, for lack of a better term, I had to sit out on for 7-8 years, because my training was very regimented and it was very specific to me. So getting to come here and jump back into doing classes and hanging out with just the community, it's been very refreshing.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk a little bit about HWPO, the new program that you have launched, and it's exploded over the last year. You have 6 active programs with athletes. You're about to launch a 7th program, which is an Olympic weightlifting focused program with Amy Everett. What is the long-term plan for HWPO? Where are you guys going, and what can other athletes expect to see from you guys coming down the line?
It's been an incredible journey so far. Especially once we switch platforms, have our own app, started hiring our own employees, and I'm spoiled. I get to work every day with Sammy and O'Keefe, and it's mirror image from when I was competing. When I took my picture every year after the games, I was very proud that I had the same people to the left of me and the right of me every single year, and now it's no different. Getting to board meetings, whiteboard sessions, all that stuff. Right now, it's we're trying to service as many people where they are in their journey with CrossFit. It's not every CrossFitter is a professional. Not every CrossFitter wants the heavy barbells. So it's catering to people where they are on their fitness journey, giving them a track that they can join and feel like they're a part of the community and progressing, and then coming out with more sport specific, or like strong, like with Rob, he's competes in the World's Strongest Man. That program more focuses on the big 3, so more powerlifting style training. We're launching with Amy and I Everett, the lift program. Anyone that doesn't know Amy, she's an incredibly accomplished Olympic weightlifter, first female from the USA to coach at the Olympics, it's just incredible getting to work with these people. And I say it all the time, like we'll finish a 4-day work trip where we have 12 people at the house and we're filming content, coming up with ideas of what next and all that stuff, and then we'll go out to dinner. I'm just like, I can't fucking believe this was a day of work. I get to hang out with great people and do awesome things. So we're trying to keep growing and more sport specific tracks. If somebody's a football player and they want the best strength and conditioning program, we want that to be with us. So it's just finding the right people to do it. So we're always expanding, always looking to grow, and always looking to bring on the best people possible.
And I'm right on. So you talked a little bit about Rob Kearney, who's doing the Strongman element. we actually just saw our first, well, not quite first ever, but a really cool strong man, strong woman event that happened at the CrossFit Games. That was the 1RM sandbag, ground to shoulder. And we also saw that Rogue kind of teased maybe a little bit of a log press, which is something we've never seen in CrossFit before. So have you had an opportunity to try it? Have you found a gym where you've gotten an opportunity to do it? And if you have, what do you think about that getting incorporated into a big games event like Rogue?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely amazing getting to put your hands on new toys and getting to learn new implements of the sport. I was actually lucky enough that my sportsman suit is Ireland and UK's strongest woman, so she brought the log round on Tuesday, and so she's taught me how to use it. It's definitely a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, but I'm really excited to use it.
Now, talking about odd objects, anybody that watched this year's CrossFit Games that was programmed for the first time by Adrian Bosman, we saw a lot of new implementations and a lot of kind of new iterations on top of movements maybe that we've seen before. We had the double under crossover movement, we had the parallel traverses, and those actually, the two best performances you had at the Games this year were in odd object or movements we've never seen introduced before in CrossFit. One was the parallel traverse, and the other one was the block handstand push-ups. Okay, so having never done those, well, maybe not having done them before, but never doing them at the Games, how do you approach things like that? Because you excelled, you had, I think, a 3rd place and a 5th place finish in those events. So how do you approach those mentally, knowing that you've never used this exactly before in that kind of setting?
For me, my strength would be my overhead pressing. So I was like, well, I can dip. I was like, it's just basically the same implement. So I was like, I'm just going to be conservative on the barbell. I've seen everyone going out touch and go. I was going to try and chase the likes of Danny Spiegel and those girls, and I was like, you're a big girl. I think you're going to slow down those dips. So I just played to my strength. I know my upper body pressing is my thing, so I just played to that.
So recently, I don't know if everybody here knows, but we've got a little bit of an adjustment to the CrossFit Games season that came around. We have kind of this back to a little bit more of a super regional style format, so we've condensed the European regional the European semifinal down into only one major event. Now, there's been a big conversation for years that the European athletes are a little underrepresented at the CrossFit Games, in particular the European women, who represent some of the fittest athletes in the world. How are you approaching a new season format where there's potentially the opportunity to get more female competitors on the line, actually to the Games, and then what do you feel? How do you feel about a big regional competition that involves all of the top athletes, and how do you approach something like that?
I think as soon as I heard it, I was so excited. I think it really complements the most well-rounded athlete. If you finish 30th in a field of 30, it's not as detrimental as finishing 60th. So for me, I'm not really a home hitter. I'm kind of misconsistent, so it's probably going to complement me very well. Being a bigger field, there's potentially going to be a couple of slip-ups with other athletes, maybe having to play cat and mouse with the leaderboard. So I think it's really exciting. And then as well, going off previous years, like way back from the start, usually the European girls stack up fairly high in the worldwide ranking, so hopefully we'll be able to get maybe 10, 12, maybe 13 athletes in the Games, which would be awesome.
All right, Matt, so you are now in a little bit slightly different of a position, your 2nd season as a head coach of actually athletes that are competing at the Games now, and so you're taking on that sort of mentorship coach role that is a little bit of a reversal for you. So you also have athletes that are going to be competing in a different type of format. Now, how have you had any conversations with those athletes, or how are you going to advise them to approach a new competitive landscape that's just slightly different?
To be totally honest, we haven't even talked about it. No, I saw the announcement. I immediately loved it. I think in the States there's 2 semifinal events, 10 qualify out of each. For me personally, I like that format a lot better. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of the athletes. If they're going that much deeper into the field. If you have one slip up, it's not as detrimental. If you're in that top 3, you have one slip up, it's really tough. And I know when I competed, some of the toughest competitions were when Velmer and I were going against each other at regionals, because there was no one there to middle us. So even if I was winning events by a minute or whatever, you don't get extra points for winning by a big margin. And then you have one event where you slip, and I had that at regionals one year where I think I took 9th on day 1, and it took multiple events to climb back up because there's no one there to middle in between. So I think for the qualifying stage, I think it's it takes a little bit of pressure off of some athletes. It's not like a one slip up on an event and your year is over. But then I also love it that, when I competed, I loved going against Velmer at regionals. You get to trade blows with a lot more competitors early on in the season. And so with someone like Mallory or Jason, they get to go. It's a bit more of a buffer with the top 10 qualifying, but then you also get to go against the other top athletes in the country, and there's enough time between that and the games that you can still make some tweaks to your training. So it's either confirming that what I'm doing is working and everything's great, or hey, I need to start working on my endurance more, my gymnastics, my strength, whatever it is, and you have enough time to make some changes.
Now, as a coach, as a mentor, as somebody who is now taking on the responsibility of guiding an athlete from start to finish, do you find that more stressful, and do you find it more stressful than when you competed watching the athletes compete on the floor that you're coaching?
Training and the warm-up area is way less stressful. Like, there's almost no stress. For me, it's, I plan so far ahead. I have, an A plan, a B plan, a C plan, all that type of stuff. The warm-ups are scheduled down to the minute, so there's no opinion involved in any of that. It's like, hey, 20 minutes out, we start this. 18 minutes out, we do this. That, there's no emotion involved. As soon as Mallory goes out on the floor, and I am powerless, I have no control, that's when you start, for me, that's when I start worrying, because I'm powerless. There's nothing I can do. So that's when you're sitting there hoping you crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, and you're like, I hope I did everything right and taught her the right lessons so she can make the right decisions out there. But no, I mean, it's been fun, and it's nerve-wracking. I think at the games, what was there, 14 events? Yeah, so I think I cried 14 times.
Fair enough. Something else that's kind of new for you too is not just doing the HWPO, the individual programming for elite athletes that have competed at games. So you have a bunch of different programs for all different kinds of athletes, but you're also taking on a role that's very new, which is programming for competitions. And we saw you program Can West. You have Dubai coming up, and I think you had one more. I forget which one it was, but McQuaid. Yes, sorry, McQuaid. And what's your methodology for approaching programming a competition, which is not the same thing as programming workouts and training? Do you test them yourself? And what's your starting place for coming about doing the 6, 7, 8 different workouts that are meant to test and find the fittest athletes?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes on behind closed doors, and I've had a sneak peek. Anyone that doesn't know Matt O'Keefe, been by my side for 10 years. He ran Wadapalooza for years, and so I got to see a lot of the process that went into it in terms of how to program. But then there's so many variables going into it. So like a competition like Madrid, there's 2,500 competitors, and so you have to take that into consideration. Not only what are the workouts, but now the time slots that go into it. What floors are they competing on? What equipment is available? There's all these different things, and so different competitions have different stipulations put in for us. So a competition like Can West, when they literally gave us free reign on anything we wanted, and so I think the competition programming reflected that. And then a competition like Madrid, where we have a lot less freedom because now there's 2,500 competitors, and so they gave us a sheet, and it was like, hey, you have 10-minute time slot here, 10-minute, 8-minute, 12-minute, so we had no control over the time domains of the workouts. That was set because of the competition floor, the competition, all that stuff. So it's sitting down and asking all these questions. Like Dubai, we're programming it right now, and it's like, what equipment do you have? And they're very limited, so we have to get creative with what's available. And then asking the person running the competition, do you want an exciting competition, or do you want to find the fittest, or do you want to find who wins this weekend? And that changes, you know. Like the CrossFit Games, there's 15 events, it's over 4 days, they have endless resources, and the goal is to find the fittest person. That's not the case with every competition. Like, not every competition can you put in a 90-minute time domain workout on day one or whatever it is. So, you know, it's finding out all of our stipulations, what the event owner is looking for, what we have at hand, the level of person competing, and then trying to put together all those ingredients and still find, you know, a well-rounded programming. So it's fun, it's challenging, it's frustrating, but then when you see it all come together, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. All right, last question for you, Matt. And this one is a question that, you know, everybody really wants to know. Is there any chance we'll see a Mat Fraser on any competitive floor, any kind, maybe tomorrow, maybe just, you know, a friendly exhibition? No?
Zero chance. I have less. When I retired, I started working more. So, you know, we worked 7 days a week. It's been in the last month that we started taking Mondays off. Like, it's a rule in our household now that Mondays are off days. But yeah, you know, I just have too many other things going on that I'm absolutely in love with. I'm too accountable to too many other people, that if I started training to compete again, I would have to wipe the slate clean, and I don't want to do that.
All right, well, look, you know, I know you're going to be in Rogue next week, and so will you, by the way, and there's an open invitation to either one of you. I live down in Austin area, and I have a competition the following weekend, and I am currently without a partner, and it so happens that there's both a male-male and male-female division in RX, by the way, just in case you're wondering. And I do need a partner for that event. So if you're thinking you want to, you know, brush off the cobwebs and just need some fine tuning before Wadapalooza, just call me up. I'd be more than happy to show you how it's done, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, Mat Fraser, thank you so much. Emma McQuaid, thank you as well.